What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I am doing a very special video on the channel where today, I will be telling you what my 2022 NASCAR schedule is going to look like. Let's go ahead and just jump straight to it. Things to note before, there are a few things that have come out so far for the 2022 schedule. We know that Daytona 500 is going to be on February 20th this year. We also do know that Bristol Dirt is once again going to be returning in 2022, though we do not have confirmation on when that race exactly is going to be. Those are the things that we do know so far at this point, but a lot more changes are going to be happening here on the schedule. So anyway, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Starting off with the season, remember, the Super Bowl is going to be on February 13th this year, as was announced earlier today that the Super Bowl is going to be moved to the 17-week season, so they're expanding the season just a little bit longer for the NFL. So the season is going to kick off. We're going to have the Speed Week once again like we had in 2021, and we're going to start off on February 15th with the Busch Clash once again on the Daytona Road Course. This is going to be the first race that we are going to actually see the next-gen car in action. To me, I think I was very, very impressed with how good the racing was at the Daytona Road Course for the Busch Clash. We saw a very, very good finish between Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney for the win, and Kyle Busch was able to steal the win. I expected the race to be very boring, but I think that the racing was really, really good. And from what I've heard, the drivers, the veteran drivers especially, have really said that this car, the next-gen car, works really, really strong on the road courses. So to me, I think that the perfect race start this year is keeping in Daytona and run it on the Daytona Road Course. Now, this is the only time we're going to run the Daytona Road Course, and this also will not turn into a testing ground for upcoming races. The season will kick off there. Then on February 20th, the first race of the year, we're going to keep the same as it is. The Daytona 500 once again take place in the weekend of President's Day. President's Day next year is on February 21st. So Daytona 500 will kick off the season once again. Should be no surprise right there. The Daytona 500 is the biggest race of the year. You want that race as a big race, and you want that to kick off season, and it might be able to bring fans into sport. The Daytona 500 will kick off the season. Right after that, instead of having Homestead as race number 2, we're going to jump straight into the West Coast Swing. Now, the West Coast Swing this time around is going to have, instead of 3 races, it is going to have 4 races in the West Coast Swing. Race 2 in the first race in the West Coast Swing is going to take place on February 27th at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Pennzoil 400. The racing at Las Vegas Motor Speedway has been very, very good. We've seen some fantastic racings. I think especially the only race that's really been bad in the last 2 years at that track was 2018 in the spring. The spring 2018 race was really, really bad. But as that track is aged, I think the racing overall has gotten really, really good. And I think Vegas does deserve 2 races. And remember, Las Vegas is supposed to have, I think, 2 races every year till 2031. So you have to keep 2 races Las Vegas. That means that Las Vegas will be the second race of the year. The third race season that will take place on March 6th is going to take place at Auto Club Speedway for me. So keep this in mind. This is going to be the 2-mile configuration and not the half-mile configuration, because remember, they delayed the half-mile configuration of the track from 2022 to 2023 so that the fans could go to the 2-mile Auto Club track one last time, as they decided to move the Auto Club race to Daytona Road Course in 2021 because of the fact that California basically was shut down, and they were moving some of the California races over to the East Coast. So, Auto Club is going to remain race number 3. I think the track is worn out. They are going to half-mile circuit. I think Auto Club will remain number 3, and I think families will get a very, very good taste of saying goodbye to Auto Club. The fourth race of the season is going to take place on March 13th at Phoenix International Speedway. I think Phoenix is a good track. It is not a great track. But here's the thing to note. Phoenix is going to have an interesting change in the schedule as we get farther down into the season. This is going to be the third of 4 races on the West Coast Swing as well. Like I said, I think the racing at Phoenix International Speedway has been good. It hasn't been great, but we'll probably see some good racing. If NASCAR just got rid of the traction compound on the top, saying like in a lot of tracks where they have the traction compound, I think the racing overall will be a lot better. But Phoenix is going to remain as number 4 on the schedule. Now, this is going to be the first significant change that is going to take place. The 5th race that's going to take place on March 20th of 2022 is going to be one that fans have been asking for, and will be a new addition to the West Coast Swing as that expands to 4 races in 2022. The race is getting moved. There is going to be a swap between the Bristol Dirt Race and the Sonoma Race. You guessed it. The Sonoma Raceway is going to become the 5th race of the year, and Bristol is going to be farther back in the schedule. And the reason I have Sonoma moving to race number 5 is fans, like I said, have been begging for Sonoma to become the 5th race of the year. The racing looks really, really good. The green on the track, the atmosphere of the track looks really, really awesome, and the weather's also really, really beautiful in the spring. I think the decision should be to move Sonoma, and I'm hoping SMI is thinking about that. Martinsville has said there might be some changes coming to that. Hopefully those end up becoming true. I think Sonoma should be the 5th race of the year, and I think it will end up being the 5th race of the year. The 6th race of 2022 will be on March 27th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, unlike this year in 2021, where there are going to be 2 races for Atlanta Motor Speedway, this is going to be the only time that Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to have a race this year. The reason they're getting 2 races is they probably want fans to come there because they're planning on repaving the track very, very soon, probably as early as 2022. This is going to be the first race they have with the next-gen car, and I think we'll see some solid racing overall, and I think that by then they have plans to repave the track. I think they're going to go ahead and repave the track in 2022, but race 6 of the year is going to take place, in my opinion, at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The 7th race on the NASCAR schedule is also a pretty significant change that's going to take place on April 3rd. Texas Motor Speedway is going to end up moving back from the fall date to the spring date. That's right, Texas Motor Speedway is still going to end up having one day, but they're also not going to have the All-Star race in 2022 on my current schedule. Texas Motor Speedway is only going to get their only date on April 3rd. I don't think the track deserves a playoff date. I think the racing has been really bad over the last couple of years, and I think Texas Motor Speedway only deserves to have one race. Screw Eddie Gossage at this point anyways. But Texas Motor Speedway will be race number 7. I think because the racing has been bad for the Cup Series and the Aero Package and all that stuff, I think that deserves to be number 7 on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The 8th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule is going to take place. The first Saturday night race on April 9th is going to be at Martinsville Speedway, the night race at Martinsville. Again, we ran the race last year at night in the spring race when, of course, we came back from the pandemic. But we ran this as a spring race, and it was really, really good. Solid race until the end. Of course, Mark Jr. pulled away. We saw a lot of beating, banging, and it was a solid race overall. No changes right there. I think Martinsville is going to put on a very, very good show, and I think we're going to have a lot of tempers and beating, banging, especially after Texas and some of those other tracks before that. But yeah, Martinsville is going to be the first, technically the first short track that's going to be on the schedule, and I think we're going to see some crazy racing right there. The 9th race in the schedule, there's going to be a 1-week break for Easter to take place. And then on April 24th, the 9th race of the season is going to take place at Richmond Racing. A lot of people complain about Richmond Raceway because I will admit sometimes it can be a little boring with the one groove track. But I do like the comers and goers aspects of the race and the tire fall off where you see the long run cars come to the front and the short run cars to come up to the front. I had a hard decision deciding if this race deserved 2 races, but I also do think the aero package doesn't really help this track overall. I think 750 horsepower package works at some tracks. It doesn't work as good at Richmond, but I think that if they can find a way to fix the track overall, I think that this track is going to end up becoming good. But Richmond Raceway is going to be the 9th race on my NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The 10th race that is going to be on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule is going to take place on May 1st at Talladega Superspeedway. No changes there. Talladega Superspeedway has had some fantastic racing, especially with the current package that we started running in 2019. The last 5 or 6 races, even though they've been wreckfest, they've also been very entertaining to watch, and we've had some crazy finishes to end the racing as well. Talladega is one of my favorite races of the year, and once again, it will be the 10th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The 11th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule is going to take place on May 8th, and that is going to be the Rebel 400 at Darlington Raceway. In 2021, NASCAR will be running the Rebel 400 for the first time. Darlington is going to have 2 races, I think since 2004 when they had 2 races that season. And they're going to have 2 races once again in 2022. Many people have been begging for them to have 2 races. And another big advantage to Darlington Raceway is they're going to have the next-gen car, but they're also potentially going to have a 750 horsepower package as well. And I think the driver's hand is going to play in the driver's hands for a racetrack like that. So to me, Darlington Raceway deserves it, and also will be the throwback race as well. I don't think they're going to move that back to Southern 500, and we'll see a lot of great throwback paint schemes as well for the Rebel 400. That will be the 11th race of this season. The 12th race is going to take place on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule in 2022. It's going to take place on May 15th at Dover Speedway. This is going to be the only time that Dover International Speedway is going to get a race in the season. I think Dover only deserves 1 race. I think the racing has gone downhill over the last couple years. I think the Gen car may be able to fix these issues, but I think the Gen 6 car is really the big contributing factor to the racing being not as good. It's become really a single group track, and it's hard to pass at times with the aerodynamic problems. I like Dover overall, but the track's kind of gone downhill. But still, I think the next gen car could overall fix it, but this will be the 12th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The 13th race is going to take place on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, is going to take place on May 22nd at Circuit of the Americas. We have not raced the Circuit of the Americas in the NASCAR Cup Series schedule at the time I am recording this video, but I really can tell you right now, I think that we will see a very good race in 2021, and I think that NASCAR once again want to come back here in 2022. People have been begging for this race to come on a schedule. We've seen solid racing IndyCar. We've seen solid racing Formula 1 at this racetrack. And I think that once again, this will put on a good show. And you'll have full capacity as well. And fans are going to be anticipating this event very well. I think that it will put on a very good show for Circuit of the Americas. The 14th race is going to take place on the NASCAR schedule. Is going to be on my brother John's birthday on May 29th. Will be the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Speedway. Again, you can't really change it. I know people have been saying we should limit how long the race is for the Coke 600. I disagree. I know the race is very tedious and very long, but it's a traditional race. It's a Memorial Day race, and we'll see hopefully some good racing overall. Again, the next gen car is supposed to be out there, so hopefully that will overall fix the issues of some of the aerodynamic problems we've been seeing. But the next gen car will be also racing there, and we will see the Coca-Cola 600 as race 14 on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The 15th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, we're going to go back to the beginning of the season where I mentioned that Sonoma is going to be taking the place of Bristol Dirt. Bristol Dirt is actually going to be taking the place of Sonoma on June 5th. Now, the reason I'm moving the Bristol Dirt race from March, where we were in 2021, to June is to fight the weather problems that we have been seeing at Bristol. 5 of the last 8 races, 2014, 2015, 2017, 2018, and now 2021, have been affected by rain. And this year, we had flooding at the racetrack. At some point, it's going to become very, very dangerous to race there in the spring. My proposal is we swap Sonoma for Bristol Dirt and move this race to June 5th, because you also, in 2020, when COVID was around, we ran this race in June. And guess what ended up happening? No rain. There were no rain problems that ended up happening, and I think that overall it's going to be much better for the fans going to the event, and you're going to have no rain issues. I think also NASCAR can learn the second time they come back here and put on a good show, because in my opinion, the racing we saw the other day was absolutely excellent. We saw some great racing. The track prep is going to be the one thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on, but we saw some very, very solid and really good racing overall. And I think that we will, once again, in 2022, I think we're going to see a better show because they have a lot of notes to work on. And they get some dirt experts in there as well to learn. But yeah, Bristol Dirt is going to be the 15th race on my NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Right after we go to Bristol Dirt is going to be the All-Star race on June 12th. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while. In 2021, this year, they're going to be running the All-Star race at Texas. And that's the reason we have right now 2 races at Texas. We originally had 2 races at Texas, but they took one of the regular days and made that a playoff day. But I'm changing it up with my schedule. My thoughts is that we're going to go to a racetrack that is actually not currently on the NASCAR schedule. And there's not really a lot of tracks right now that are not on the NASCAR schedule that I really thought of. There's one track that a lot of people have been begging for to come back. It's not North Wilkesboro because the track is not ready. It's not National Fairgrounds because that track is not ready, suitable to race with the NASCAR current Cup cars we have. Those tracks maybe at some point, especially we might be hearing some news on that really, really soon. But I think the track that is going to end up getting the All-Star race, or could get an All-Star race, is Rockingham International Speedway. That's right. The last time the Cup Series race at Rockingham was back in 2004. And I know a lot of people think, what about Bowman Gray Stadium? Bowman Gray Stadium is definitely not a bad choice to potentially go there. But Rockingham has had a lot of people begging for it to come back. On top of that, they actually have been racing with the Cars Late Model Tour in 2021, which means they have been racing this year at that racetrack. And they've been begging for this track to come back. And the racing there was absolutely fantastic. Even in the last year, I think with it being a short track, we can see the high side, the low side. We saw great racing in the Truck Series race as well when they raced there for a couple years. I think Rockingham would put on a really good show, and it would be a great way to kick the All-Star race with the All-Star Open and the All-Star race. We get a very, very good show in a rotating All-Star race. I think that Rockingham should be the All-Star race in 2022. The next race after Rockingham and after the All-Star race is going to take place on the weekend of June 19th and June 20th, which is going to be the Pocono doubleheader. You have the Saturday race and the Sunday race. Now, I'll be honest, in 2020, I thought the Pocono doubleheader was okay. It was better race than I thought they were going to be at Pocono. I think the PJ1 definitely did help the racing at Pocono in 2020. But I do think that the track is not as good of a track as people give credit. But I really want to see full capacity for this race. Now, in 2020, they're expected at 50% capacity. but things can change with the COVID-19 pandemic, and we can eventually see full capacity for this race. You really never know. But I really like the idea of the Pocono doubleheaders, getting it done right away, and I think in 2022 they should keep it for the fan experience, and I think overall it would be a really good decision to keep the Pocono doubleheader in its weekend. I like the idea of keeping that, and I'm going to keep that for the 2022 schedule. Right after the Pocono doubleheader, the 18th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule is going to take place on June 26th at National Superspeedway. We have to go to National Superspeedway unless they breach contract. National Superspeedway has a 4-year deal from 2021 to 2024. They signed that deal last year, which will once again probably name the Ally 400. So we'll have to at least go here for the next 3 years. We haven't seen a race so far. The good news is this year in 2021, we're going to have the 750 horsepower package. I think we'll see some good racing, and the tire fall-off is also going to be a thing. And I think we'll see some pretty good racing overall in 2020, but we once again will come back here in 2022, hopefully with better racing and good racing with the next-gen car. The National Superspeedway will be right up next. Right after National Superspeedway on July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, we are once again going to be returning to Road America in 2022. A lot of people have been begging for Road America to come on a schedule, and finally in 2021, we are going to see that on the 4th of July. So right before the fireworks hit, you can watch the NASCAR Cup Series race on the 4th of July. Great American thing. And once again, it's going to be on the 4th of July weekend, so we also probably could see some patriotic schemes as well during that weekend as well. To me, Road America being there is really, really good. We've seen great racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and I think the Cup Series will put on a good show in 2021. And 2022, once again, we will see Road America on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Right after Road America, the next race is going to take place on July 10th. The 20th race of the year will be at Kansas International Speedway. This will be the first of 2 races that's going to take place. But this actually is going to take place on July 9th, on Saturday night due to the heat issues. You don't want this happening in the middle of July, especially with the heat. This is going to be a Saturday night edition race. You're going to have the Xfinity Series race on Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Friday early evening, if I'm not mistaken, and then the Cup race will take place later that day. Racing at Kansas generally hasn't really good, and the facility is one of the best facilities. I almost went there a couple years ago, was not able to go to. I really want to go to Kansas Speedway. I know the fall race in 2020 was not very good, but the races before that, especially the spring one in 2019 and spring one in 2020, was absolutely excellent. And to me, I think the racing is going to continue to be really, really good, and highlighting the out blow line will come into play, and we'll see some multi-group racing, and Kansas, once again, will probably put a really good show on in 2022. The next race, race number 21, is going to take place on July 17th, and that is going to take place at New Hampshire International Speedway. I will say New Hampshire Motor Speedway has grown on me over the last couple years. I thought the racing at New Hampshire International Speedway wasn't very good for a long time, but really the moment the race kind of started going in the right direction was around 2018 when they brought the low downforce to the track. I think it overall helped the racing. It was 2017. I hated the 2017 race. But the 2018 race, you saw multiple leaders, a lot of comers and goers, and different guys up front dominating. And I think that once again we'll see that in 2021. But in 2022, I think New Hampshire will come back on the schedule, and we will see some great racing overall. Right after that, at race number 22, on July 24th, is going to be a Sunday afternoon, early afternoon race due to the heat potential issues. This race is going to take place at Worldwide Technology Raceway in the St. Louis area. I personally have been begging for Worldwide Technology to be on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule since around 2010 when I went to those races. And I said that I want to see a Cup Series race, and that potentially could be my first Cup Series race. That track, while the racing out of the mist sometimes can be very, very sloppy and sometimes not the greatest, the facility is really, really awesome, and the promotion around this race would be really, really, really good. Bommarito could jump in and promote the hell out of this race, and you could have a lot of other sponsors as well go out and sponsor events. So to me, I think Worldwide Technology is very great, and you can jump into that St. Louis market, which has a lot of racing fans as well, whether you like it or not. There are a lot of people in where I'm from, we're in the St. Louis area, that are racing fans, and I think that it'd be a really good decision overall to put Worldwide Technology as a race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and I think that in 2022, that should be in addition to the schedule. The next race after Gateway, race number 23, is going to be the NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader on July 31st. For those of you who know, this year in 2021, they're going to be doing a NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader. I think a week or two out, I think in early August of this year, doing a NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader on the Indy Road Course. NASCAR is going away from the Brickyard 400, and they're going to Indy Road Course. And I think in 2022, they're going to do the same thing. I think the racing is going to be better. We saw in 2020 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, we saw some really good racing overall. And I think once again in 2022, I think that is going to be the same thing. I think the Indy Road Course and Indy NASCAR doubleheader is going to happen once again. Right after Indianapolis Road Course, race number 24 in the season is going to take place on August 7th, and this is going to take place at Watkins Glen International Speedway. I love Watkins Glen. It's one of my favorite road courses on the schedule. We generally, most of the time, have seen some really, really awesome racing at Watkins Glen, and I think that is going to continue into 2021. And once again, I think we're going to see great racing once again at Watkins Glen International Speedway. That will be the 24th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The 25th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule is going to take place on August 14th at Michigan International Raceway. I will say this, I'm not a big fan of Michigan International Raceway. Ever since they repaved it in 2012, it doesn't matter the package on the car, the racing at Michigan has been really, really bad. And the repave they did, it's never aged, it's been the same smooth groove, and you can't really pass and do anything. But Michigan has to have one date generally on the schedule, and it will get their date late and closing in to the playoff cutoff. Michigan will be the 25th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. And the final race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule that's going to take place before the playoffs happen is going to be on August 20th at Daytona International Speedway, the cutoff race. Now, a lot of people were asking me, do I think that maybe in the future they could bring this Daytona back to the 4th of July race? And I think that eventually they could. But honestly, I really, in 2020, last year, enjoyed the cutoff race. I think it was really, really good, and we saw some fantastic racing. And drivers generally, until the end of the race, really took care of each other. So to me, I think Daytona being the cutoff race is going to be really good, and I think we'll have full fans as well for that. I think it's going to be good atmosphere, and it's better than having like Richmond or Indianapolis as a cutoff race. I think, once again, it will be the cutoff race in 2022, and I think that will be a good decision overall. Right after that, that's the last race for the playoffs. We have a 1 week break. We're going to have a 1 week break before the playoffs happen, get the hype rolling for that event, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the playoffs. So the first race of the playoffs is, once again, going to be on September 4th, the Southern 500, the Cookout Southern 500, as a matter of fact, at Darlington International Speedway. No surprise, this race has been the kickoff of the playoffs the last couple of years, and once again in 2021, it is going to be the kickoff of the playoffs. I don't see anything changing about that. It's Southern 500, one of the most historic events. You win that, you're considered a NASCAR legend. That will, once again, be the kickoff of the playoffs. Not expecting any changes, and they're not going to bring the throwback race for that as well with the playoffs. I wish that was still a throwback race, but you have the playoffs coming to play, and they had to change that overall. The second race is going to take place in the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and race number 28 is, once again, on September 10th, we will be returning to Richmond International Raceway. Richmond International Raceway, like I mentioned earlier, has solid racing overall, and I think it once again put on a great show. It's going to be the night race this time. The first race is going to take place in the day. This time, it's going to take place tonight, and I'm hoping we'll see some very strong racing overall when we go to Richmond for the second time. And in the final race before the cutoff round of the round of 16 is once again going to be at Bristol International Speedway. Unlike on the dirt, we're going to be on the concrete, all the saver barriers and stuff. I have enjoyed Bristol for a very long time, and I think it's really good that we're going to make that the cutoff race. I think it's great racing, and that once again is going to be the cutoff race. I think we'll see a great show from there. Now we jump into the round of 12 for the 22 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. So what is my 2022 NASCAR schedule round of 12 going to look like? So the 30th race of the year, and the first race is going to take place at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Last time we were there, last couple times, as a matter of fact, we've been there, the racing has been absolutely excellent, and we've seen a lot of comers and goers in that race as well. Don't expect that to change. I think we'll see great racing in the playoffs as well. Race 31 in the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and actually the halfway point of the NASCAR Playoffs, is going to take place on October 2nd at Talladega Superspeedway. This fall race in 2020 in that year was really, really good, and I think we'll see that once again in 2022. Talladega, in my opinion, will be the second race of the round of 12. And then the final race of that round will once again take place on October 9th at the Charlotte Roval. The Charlotte Roval has put on not a single race there. The 3 races we've seen there have been really, really, really awesome, and I don't expect that to change. The racing is going to be really, really good, and I think that we will see an excellent race at the Charlotte Roval. So now we're going to go ahead and jump onto the round of 8 and tell you what those races are going to be there. So the 33rd race of the year on October 16th is going to take place at Kansas Speedway. That once again is going to be opening up the start of the playoffs. Now, in 2021, they're making that race the second race of that round. This time around, October 16th, they're going to make that the first for me. 2022, I think they move that back to the first race of the round of 8. Kansas, like I said, puts on great racing. I don't think we're going to see what we had last time, and I think we'll see some great racing overall in 2022 at this track. The second race is a change. Phoenix International Speedway is not going to be the season finale in 2021, and here's why I have that. Phoenix is going to be the second race of the round of 8, race 34 of the year. Phoenix will take place on October 23rd. No offense to the fans of Phoenix International Speedway, but I don't think Phoenix is the best suited track to have a season finale compared to the tracks that could be in consideration for that. I love the fans out there in Phoenix. I think the track has produced some good racing, but I don't think Phoenix deserves 2 races, and I would like to eventually see a rotating finale and different tracks, and maybe getting a good tracks that actually can be suitable for that, getting the season finale. And in the final race of the round of 8, in the cutoff race, before we go to championship 4, the 35th race here is going to take place on October 30th, Halloween weekend, as a matter of fact, at Martinsville International Speedway. In 2020, one of the best Martinsville races I've ever seen, one of the best, I think arguably the best race of 2020. That race was absolutely excellent from start to finish. I enjoyed that race, and I think once again we go to back to Martinsville. I think we'll see that in 2022. And now we jump into the championship race and the final race of the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. The moment you've been waiting for. I mentioned earlier in the episode that Homestead Miami Speedway had not had a Cup day, and that track has not had a Cup day. Well, even though we lost that race in 2019, and we haven't had that as the season finale for the last couple of years, Homestead Miami Speedway is going to return to its rightful place as the season finale. It's been the season finale since 2002. It's from 2002 to 2019. And the racing at Homestead, even this year in 2021, convinced me that they need to move this track back to the season finale. It's the new version of Atlanta for a lot of younger fans. The racing has been spectacular. The race earlier this year in 2021 was really, really good. And I really never understood why they moved it from the championship race. Plus, I think that this race, even if you're not watching for the championship, you could watch a race that's actually going to be fun. And you may not just have the championship 4 battling, but guys that are really good on the Highline that could go up there and contend with those leaders. I think Homestead Miami Speedway should be the season finale, and I think it needs to go back to its rightful place as a season finale for the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. So, anyway, that is my 2022 NASCAR schedule that I would like to see for the upcoming 2022 season. So, anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR video and special video as well. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, YouTube can't recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I would greatly appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below for that, and comment below your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts on my 2022 NASCAR schedule? What changes do you think you would make to your schedule? And what would you like to see on your schedule overall? And what am I wrong about? Let me know in the comments below. Just let me know your thoughts on the video, because this is a special video. I like to do different kind of content like this overall. I'm going to be returning to normal style schedule here on Thursday. We do have a few things we're going to talk about that we've probably missed over the last couple of days, but I want to do something special for you guys to bring, as we're getting close to 600 subscribers. I want to do something really special. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.